Hi, welcome to Soulstream Media. I'm Stacey St. Clair, your host. I am so excited about our guest today, Christy Whitman. So, my vision for Soulstream Media is to bring you healers, transformational coaches, people that can help you live your best life and become the best version of you. And Christy Whitman is definitely one of those people and teachers. She is a transformational leader, two-time New York Times bestselling author, intuitive energy healer, and renowned channel of the council. With over 25 years of experience guiding personal transformation, she blends energy mastery, intuitive healing, and channeled wisdom to help you clear blocks and manifest a life of alignment and connection. So she's here today to give you some tips for aligning and connecting and living your best life in 2026. Welcome, Christy.
Thank you, Stacey. I'm just so happy to be with you. Happy to be with all of you.
Thank you. So tell us, how do you help your clients? And I know you lead large workshops and events. How do you lead us into our alignment and connection?
Well, the first thing to understand is that when we're not aligned, we feel bad, right? So I like to think of it as we have like three different buckets, right? Three different kind of like spectrums of emotions, right? So the first bucket is limitation, lack, and that's where all those lower level emotions, sadness, fear, worry, doubt, frustration, they're important, they're significant, we need them, they inform us, but we don't want to stay stuck in there. And a lot of times we stay imprinted and stuck in that first bucket. And so it's been my work to help people go from the first bucket all the way into the third bucket, which is abundance. And that's where, when you're in alignment with abundance, you feel good. It's the opposite. In lack, you feel bad. With abundance, you feel good. And that's how you know. Am I vibrating in lack right now? Well, I feel pretty good. So no, I'm in abundance, right? Am I feeling good, or am I feeling bad? If I'm feeling bad, there's some perspective. There's something I'm saying. There's something I'm thinking. There's something I'm picturing in my mind, or there's something I'm feeling. There's something I'm doing that is keeping me stuck in that first bucket. And like I wrote about in my latest book, The Flow Factor, when we're in that first bucket, there's an actual physical reaction that happens within us, and we get into our primitive brain, which is where fight, flight, freeze is, right? Where
And is
that
that almost
survival.
subconscious sometimes?
We're not even aware of it. It just happens. Like, we might react and say something or do something, and we're like, why did I react so emotionally?
Did that
Right?
just come out of my mouth?
Right. Or, you could be fine and nobody else is around. And then all of a sudden you could have a terror, like a thought of just that brings you into a feeling of terror. Like, just one thought can bring you back to a place of feeling
And a
disempowered.
lot of people wake up in that mode.
Yes. Immediately their first thought is
Yeah.
something that's
A
negative.
lot of people, I would bet. I mean, those of you watching, I feel you. I know people are waking up with this because I do, and all the work I've done for 32 years. I will wake up with, sometimes gripped by unknown, emotions,
Right. So
fear.
when that happens, right? We're in that survival mode, and we're in constriction, right? Because the survival mode in our brain has all of the energy. It's got all the attention. The higher insight can't be activated. Creative
Stop
brain,
closures on California 1 North.
our creative brain can't be
Should reach your destination by 3:56
Sorry,
a.m.
my phone
that's
is
okay.
Head towards
crazy.
Saddlehorn Court.
So sorry
That's
that
okay.
we're driving in California.
Yeah, no worries. So our creative brain cannot be activated, and we can't get into that visualization of thinking about what we want if we're in that survival mode. And if we wake up like that, that's a really good indication that we need to release that. So there's a process that we're at the back of the head and the neck, because you got all this activity at the back of the brain, which is responsible, and that's where everything action is going. We want to release out through the back, where there's that sensitive, soft area. where the head and the spine come together, that's actually a chakra. It's a release valve. It's a portal. And if we can imagine that energy is releasing out through the back, it's like just feel it releasing. What it does is it actually calms our limbic system. It calms our nervous system. We actually breathe better and deeper, right? So everything just starts to settle. And when that happens, you're coming into that second bucket, which is neutrality, because this is based on one of the universal laws, the law of sufficiency and abundance, right? So sufficiency, neutrality, compassion, peace, harmony, fulfillment. You're not over the moon like, wow, super joyful and blissed out, but you're good. You feel good. You don't feel bad. You're neutral. You feel good, right? You're in an okay place. It's sufficient. This moment is enough.
I almost think of wholeness when you say that, like you feel whole, okay,
Yeah.
safe, safe.
Most people don't feel that, let alone feeling abundant. So, because most people are living in that survival mode. Because what happens is we have a variety in our universe, right? There's a variety of people, opinions, things to do, things to eat. There's a variety. And a lot of times, what gets attracted to us is maybe something that feels hurtful or shocking or feels like a betrayal or feels like bad news or is inconvenient or just doesn't feel good for whatever reason. When that contrasting thing shows itself or we become aware of it, our primitive brain kicks in. We go into that, okay, what do I have to do? Do I have to run from this? Do I freeze from this? Do I fight this? And it happens without us even having a thought about it. It is so automatic. It's like us sitting here talking. Neither one of us have said anything about our hearts beating, but our hearts are beating, right? Life force is pulsating our blood through our heart, oxygen, and it's doing that automatic. You and I don't have to do anything. We can have an effect on our heart rate. If I got up and started doing jumping jacks or running, my heart rate would be affected, but it'll still beat just the same because it's not me beating it, right? So that life force, when we start to connect and realize there's that's there for us, right? Our soul self, our energy field, our divine self, what the council likes to call our stadium of light. If you would imagine that you're in the 50-yard line, you're at the center stage, you're the talent, you're the one on the leading edge right now, and every single seat and every single row and every single section, like at a football stadium or at a really amazing theater, all of that is there for you. They're applauding us, they're cheering us on. That's activation for us, that's supplied resources for us. So it's like we're in the game and everyone's cheering us on to be, to do, to have whatever it is we feel inspired to do. And when we're living in that, we feel filled with life, we feel expanded. But when we're living from, it's not possible, I can't do it, others would be better off doing it, how come they get it and I don't? We're in that compare despair kind of energy. When we're in competition, when we're in the place of looking for what's wrong and bad instead of what's good and right. These are all ways that we stay in that survival mode and we do not feel good.
Now, you mentioned the council. A lot of our viewers will not know what that reference. Would you tell us
Yes, I'd be
about the
happy to.
council?
Yeah, so I channel a group of ascended masters called the Quantum Council of Light. And I have been doing my own personal work for about 30 years, where my first teachers, actually around 35 years, but my teachers were channelers. They were channeled beings. And that it was just, I grew to feel the truth and the purity in that channeled wisdom. And so I've had channeled teachers, like Abraham Hicks and many others. And so in 2018, I had been having guidance from them and I bring them in when I do healing work for a client, things like that. But it was, interestingly enough, it was my son's birthday and they came through. So I'll never forget the date. And they fully came through, where my consciousness went out and their consciousness fully embodied. Yeah. Yeah. And I am not aware of what happens when, they're there and I'm not. But it's really powerful because they, similar to Abraham, they give processes and they teach and they help, give information and give guidance and inspire, but they also heal. So And that's interesting because this is where this has evolved for me, because I remember about 12 years ago, I was in a place where I had created, manifested everything I'd ever wanted. Lots of money in the bank, great career, some husband, great healthy kids, funny, we were traveling, vacationing, just the time of my life. And there was still a moment where I felt like, okay, I manifested it all. Now what? That feeling of like, what do I do now? Kind of a little lost because like, got it, got it, got it, got it, got it, got it. There's nothing else I want. What do I do? Right. So that kind of feeling, right? I remember going up on an Abraham stage. I got in the hot seat and I said that to Abraham. It was like, I have this, that, and now what? I feel this sense of like my life up to this point was to manifest, to achieve, to get, to go, to have all the outer reflect how I want it from the inside. Now what?
Which is Abraham's basic kind of message, law of
Yeah,
attraction 101.
right, right. And so saying that to them, now what? It was like, just appreciate it. But I wasn't able to appreciate it at that time because I was still in that mode of go, create, do. There's a different mode of creation versus sitting back and just appreciating what you have.
Yeah.
Right? It's
Wow.
it's
Yeah.
very different. It's a very different
I
drive,
can,
strive, go.
hearing your story, I can see that with my story. I had manifested my dream life, husband, farm, 50-acre, farm, 10-acre lake. I swam in it every day. I loved, everything going in the magazine at the time was thriving. And then, yeah, I couldn't sit with that appreciation. I totally get that. I was
Yeah.
in, yeah, it's a kinetic, maybe under it is still a desperation vibration or something. For me, I think it was.
It was that way for me too. Thank God for growth and energy and all that because here today I sit,
I do think that.
you know,
And when it blew up, I thought, okay, I'll be okay with this in about 3 years. I'll have to do some work. I'm going to lean in. I'm like, this will be really transformational when my husband filed for divorce.
see, that's an amazing perspective, Stacey. Not a lot of
And there
people
was
can go
almost, I'm
there.
telling you, there was almost a welcoming of it,
Mm,
like to go to a new level, to clear out whatever else I needed to clear out, which was fear and lack and wanting to be
sure.
provided for. And what emerged was, wanting to create more.
Yeah, I get that. I get that. But there's also like in this now moment, right? We have access to whatever bucket, right? We can deliberately put ourselves into that feeling of playfulness and fun and peace and beauty and, you know, love and all that, or we can stay in the energy of, what's not working and what doesn't feel good. And that's always our choice because ultimately at the end of the day, we're creating our reality based on 5 things. And those 5 things are within our control. It's what we say, the words that we choose. It's the thoughts that we think. Because they're either positive or negative. We cannot not think, right? None of us get the choice today to say, I'm not going to think today. Good
Yes.
luck. Try to do it. Might last about a millisecond, right? But then you have a thought. That thought means you're alive. That thought means you're having consciousness. But now where we come in is what am I projecting onto that thought? Is that thought positive and expanding, or is that thought diminishing and constricting? Right? Because if that thought of, oh, someone else should do it, they're probably better off, or, you know, things always work out for other people. Those thoughts don't feel good. And they're coming from a place of lack within our own consciousness. So we can fulfill that by then choosing to focus on, well, as Abraham would say, what's a better feeling thought, right? But even beyond that, it's like, how do I want to feel? What do I want? Why do I want it? And how do I want to feel? Because that feeling that I'm after, I'll feel that when there's a deeper need, an energetic, emotional need that has been fulfilled, and only I can give that to myself. So that concept, just most people are not living in the concept of feeling fulfilled. Most people are living in the not enough. And even if they have enough, they still worry they're not going to have enough.
Mm-hmm.
Right? There's a
Yeah.
very different energy and vibration when you can come into, there could be contrast and stuff and, things going on in your life, like there is mine, that don't feel good, but you can find and have those moments of fulfillment within those, right? Because your life can still be fulfilling no matter what contrast is going on, no matter if you're at your peak.
And we can be happy no matter what is going on. And I think, yeah, just you're reminding me of the saying, it's an inside job.
Right.
We can move around the external. We can get another house, a different husband, a different car, but we probably won't be able to hold on to it.
Well, it's internal that creates the outer. So if we're looking at everything that we're not happy with and we're judging and criticizing it, right, that's most likely going on inside. But if we're appreciating everything that we have, that also is happening within. And so that's why the inner creates the outer, you know? And so when we are watching our words, and I'd like to give that as a free gift to all of your listeners, I have a free program. There's no credit card or anything required. It's literally free
Great.
go to
Thank you.
watchyourwords.com. So there's 30 videos that tell you, and they're 2 to 4 minutes in length. They tell you what not to say, why, and what to say instead. So each video has a word, and it tells you why this word is important to not say, what is doing to your creative ability and even your spiritual connection, and what to do instead, what to say instead. And so it's a very powerful process and program to be able to really fine tune the very nitty gritty, the very, very basic, the first brick, of our words, to be able to align them into what feels good and what's empowering and expansive.
That is amazing. Well, on behalf of everyone watching and who's going to take advantage of watchyourwords.com, thank you for giving us that gift. I'm going to start right away.
You'll
So
love
I
it.
know, speaking of words, I know every New Year's Eve you've led workshops for 20 years on choosing a word for our year. Since you are one of my first interviews for the new year, 2026, tell us a little bit about how we can choose a word and, how does that work? Do we try to embody the word all year? Do we break it down?
Yes, that's
What?
it. There's a lot of people now that are talking about, choose your word, right? And it's great because, again, that's the first part of the process. It's not the end part, right? It's like choose your word because there's energy, there's activation, there's a visualization with that particular word. When you think of that word, when you read that word, when you engage with that word, you want it to invoke a feeling of fulfillment of that word. So if you're saying, okay, I declare that, 2026 is my abundance year, abundance is my word, you have to lean into that, right? That energy of abundance has been activated for you, but you're the factor. That's why my books are called the desire factor or the flow factor. It's like the flow is there, the flow of abundance or whatever your word is, that flow exists. We're the factor. Are we leaning into it or are we resisting it or blocking it? So just choosing a word isn't enough. I mean, it's better than not because it gets you focused on a theme for your year, right? But choosing a word is the first step. The second is, how do I embody? How do I imagine myself living with that? How do I be that word? How do I do that word? How do I have that word, right? That's true embodiment, so that you're living in, every cell is vibrating in that word that you choose, and that you can then start being, that's your set point, that's your attractor point, where you're then going to attract things to you from the fact that you're solidified in that particular word.
Thank you so much for explaining that. Because, right, we have all been hearing that. So it seemed to have amped up a few years back. I know you've been leading people with that for 20 years. And you have February 8th, you have a workshop coming up. Is that open for everyone?
It is, yeah. Anything that's on my website that's, advertised is open for everyone. So what we're doing a youthing, how to create longevity and become more youthful, because the idea that as we age, we decline is a lie. And as we can really feel that what energizes us, what fuels us, what sources us is light, and it's infinite, right? So if we're deliberately bringing in light into all of the cells and we're again aligning our words, our thoughts, right? We can't be bringing in light and wanting to feel youthful and saying, oh, I'm so old. We can't say that. You got to stop saying that stuff, right? You can't think, oh, God, it's just getting worse as I get older. You think those thoughts
It's
and
gonna
feel
get worse.
youthful. It's split energy. It's not congruent. But those that, I have to say this, I had a client who's still in my community, and she was 79 at the time. And she did a session with me, and she was terrified because she was just months away from her 80th birthday. And her mother, her father, her sister, and her brother all passed at 80. So she had this like clock she could see, and she really believed that they all died at 80, so I'm going to too. And we had to do a whole reframe of, they don't work with light. They didn't do healing work, right? They're not a light worker. They believed in what was, and made it worse by complaining about it. And so just even that, it was like, oh yeah, okay, wait, I don't have to say they did it, now I'm going to too. And getting over and getting into that place of possibility that you can get even better, healthier, have longevity, have vitality at any age. She's now 85 and she looks
Yay.
younger than she ever has. It's
Yeah, that's
amazing.
great.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. Christy, tell us, okay, we know to get watchyourwords.com. That's the series on Watch Your Words. Now, how do we
Yes.
get to your main website is
ChristyWhitman.com.
ChristyWhitman.com. Okay,
Yeah.
great.
And any way you spell Christy or Whitman, you can get there. So just
Great.
ChristyWhitman.com, and
Okay.
there you are.
Okay, great. And I'll put links below for everyone watching. I'll put these links, watchyourwords.com below, and I'll put the ChristyWhitman.com, and I'll put a link to the February 8th. Also links to your books. So everybody enjoy. I'm so glad you came on Soulstream Media, and everyone's getting to doesn't know you. You have impacted, I would guess, hundreds of thousands of people with your work over the years. And thank you so much for your service. Is there anything else you're feeling you want to share before we close up? Amazing. Everyone, Christy Whitman, thank you so much, Christy. Have an amazing 2026. I know I'll be seeing you because I will be attending some of your workshops. And thanks everyone for tuning into Soulstream Media. Please like, share, subscribe, and we will see you next week.